Kiss of the Spider-Woman, Spanish, El beso de la mujer araña, is a 1976 novel by Argentine writer Manuel Puig. It depicts the daily conversations between two cellmates in an Argentine prison, Molina and Valentín, and the intimate bond they form in the process. It is generally considered Puig's most successful work. The novel's form is unusual in that there is no traditional narrative voice, one of the primary features of fiction. It is written in large part as dialogue, without any indication of who is speaking, except for a dash, to show a change of speaker. There are also significant portions of stream of consciousness writing. What is not written as dialogue, a stream of consciousness, is written as meta-fictional government documentation. The conversations between the characters, when not focused on the moment at hand, are recountings of films that Molina has seen, which act as a form of escape from their environment. Thus there are a main plot, several subplots, and 5 additional stories that comprise the novel. Puig adapted the novel into a stage play in 1983, with an English translation by Alan Baker. It was also made into an Academy Award-winning film in 1985 and a Broadway musical in 1993. Historical background: Puig started Kiss of the Spider-Woman in 1974, starting with Molina, who was an experiment in imagining a romantic female. From there the rest of the notes sprouted into the novel. At first the only country that would publish the novel was Spain. Upon publication it was included on a list of novels that could not be consumed by the population of Buenos Aires, along with novels such as Aunt Julia and The Scriptwriter by Mario Vargas Llosa. Puig feared the publication of the novel would affect his family negatively. Despite this, it was entered in the Frankfurt Book Fair. It remained banned until 1983 when the Raúl Alfonsín government took control. The English translation of the book was started even before its official publication in Spanish in 1976. Some of the translation proved problematic for Puig, including Molina's speech, which he could not get to portray the proper sentimental aspects of the voice. The English translation appeared in 1979. The French translation also proved problematic as the publisher edited out some scenes for their explicit nature. In 1981, Kiss of the Spider-Woman won the Best Latin American Novel of the Year from Istituto Italo Latino Americano in Italy. Plot: 2 prisoners, Luis Molina and Valentina Regui, share a cell in a Buenos Aires prison. The story takes place between September 9, 1975 and October 8, 1975. Molina, an effeminate gay window dresser, is in jail for corruption of a minor, while Valentín is a political prisoner who is part of a revolutionary group trying to overthrow the government. The two men, seemingly opposites in every way, form an intimate bond in their cell, and the relationship changes both of them in profound ways. Molina recounts various films he has seen to Valentín in order to help them forget their situation. Toward the middle of the novel, the reader finds out that Molina is actually a spy that is sent to Valentín's cell to befriend him and try to extract information about his organization. Molina gets provisions from the outside for his cooperation with the officials in the hopes of keeping up appearances that his mother comes to visit him, thus giving him a reason to leave the cell when he reports to the warden. It is through his general acts of kindness to Valentín that the two fall into a romance and become lovers, albeit briefly. For his cooperation, Molina is paroled. On the day he leaves, Valentín asks Molina to take a message to his revolutionary group on the outside. Little does he know that he is also being followed by government agents trying to find the location of the group. Molina dies after being shot by Valentin's group, who believes he may give information to the police about the group's plans. The novel ends in Valentin's stream of consciousness, after he has been given an anesthetic following a brutal torture, in which he imagines himself sailing away with his beloved Marta. The first story Molina recounts, which opens the novel, is based on the movie Cat People, 1942. During the narration, the reader finds out that Valentin sympathizes with the secretary because of his long-lost love, Marta. The second story Molina recounts is based on a Nazi propaganda film. Unlike the first, it is unclear whether or not this is an actual movie, but may be a composite of multiple Nazi films and an American film called Paris Underground, 1945. In the film, a French woman falls in love with a noble Aryan officer and then dies in his arms after being shot by the French resistance. The film is a clear piece of Nazi propaganda, but Molina's disinclination to see past its superficial charms is a symptom of his alienation from society, or at least his choice to disengage from the world that has rejected him. The third film concerns a young revolutionary with a penchant for racing cars who meets a sultry older woman and whose father is later kidnapped by guerrillas. With his paramour's aid, the boy attempts to rescue his father, who ends up dying in a shootout with police. Disillusioned, the young boy joins the guerrillas. The end of this particular film foreshadows the end of the novel, in which Molina meets his fate during a shootout between the police and Valentin's comrades. The fourth film, based on the film I Walked with a Zombie, 1943. The fourth story concerns a rich man who marries a woman and brings her to his island home. There his new bride discovers a witch doctor who has the ability to turn people into zombies. It is eventually revealed that the man's first wife was seduced by the witch doctor and turned into a zombie. Reunited with his first wife, the man proclaims his love for his first wife, but is ultimately killed by the witch doctor. In the end, the man's second wife sails away from the island, again foreshadowing the end of the novel, in which Valentin sails away in his conscious. The fifth film Molina recounts is a love story in which a newspaper man falls in love with the wife of a mafia boss. Love-struck, he stops his newspaper from running a potentially damaging story about the woman. They run away together but are unable to support themselves. When the man falls ill, his lover prostitutes herself so they can survive. Valentin is forced to finish the story despite Molina recounting it. In the end, the man dies and the woman ends up sailing away. The way that Valentin chooses to end the story is very similar to what happens in his own stream of consciousness narrative at the end of the novel. Characters: Molina, one of the protagonists and the prime storyteller. He is a gay window dresser who has been jailed for corrupting a minor. Valentin, the other protagonist, and the main implied listener. He is a revolutionary, imprisoned for belonging to a leftist organization that is trying to overthrow the government. The warden, one of the antagonists in the novel. He sets up Molina to spy and retrieve information from Valentin, and receives regular reports from him. Gabriel, the waiter whom Molina befriends. He acts as Molina's main love interest throughout the novel. Marta is Valentin's love interest, whom he lost in order to maintain a serious commitment to his revolutionary organization. She only appears in memories and streams of consciousness in the novel. The prison guard, Molina's mother. Criticism: the novel received mixed reviews. The Hudson Review stated that Puig is a master of narrative craftsmanship, 1979, while the New York Times Book Review asserted that, other than these film synopses, There's not much here. Themes. The author includes a long series of footnotes on the psychoanalytic theory of homosexuality. The footnotes act largely as a representation of Puig's political intention in writing the novel, to present an objective view of homosexuality. The footnotes include both factual information and that given by the fictional Anneli Taub. The footnotes tend to appear at moments of misunderstanding between Molina and Valentín. The novel can be read as an indictment of a disengaged aesthetic perspective in the context of a world where people have to take sides. Valentín, the Marxist protagonist, has risked his life and willingly endured torture for a political cause, and his example helps transform his cellmate into a citizen, someone who will enter the world. Likewise, Molina's love of aesthetics and cultural life teaches Valentín that escapism can have a powerfully utopian purpose in life. Escapism can be just as subversive and meaningful as overt political activity. Other major themes include political psychology, film, love, and communism. Notes. Levine, Suzanne Gill, Manuel Puig and the Spider-Woman. His Life and Fictions. New York. Farrar, Straus and Giroux. 2000. Print. Titler. Jonathan. Manuel Puig. New York. Twain Publishers. 1993. Print. Kerr. Lucille. Suspended Fictions. Reading Novels by Manuel Puig. Chicago. University of Illinois Press. 1987. Print.